Power steering, not the most exciting subject, but one that I found a lot of information and misinformation about. Alright, this is the stock 2.2 liter power steering pump. This is a Trailblazer SS power steering pump, and this is a 5.3 or whatever truck power steering pump. So, one of the things I read is that this pulley is too big and it hits the steering box. So the fix for that is to get a Trailblazer SS power steering pump and install this. Well, you can't do that. The reason you can't do that is these mounting holes. So this is the mounting hole pattern for the SS, and this is the truck, which is completely different. Now, I probably could have used this if I would have got this bracket off the Trailblazer SS, because I believe the top all looked the same, but I read it was a direct bolt-on, which it's not, at least for whatever year I got. I think this was like a 2005 or 6, so the earlier, like 2003 or 4 SS might be the same, but don't know, don't care. Other thing you can do is you can take this pulley off and put it on here. That gives you the smaller diameter, but that also runs this pump at a higher speed, which you just don't know what's going to happen. So I was able to use the stock pulley on the stock pump, and it clears the steering box. So there's another option, and that is to use the 2.2, and what I actually did, it has the same bolt pattern as the Trailblazer SS. But if you put this hole into this hole, so the steering pump sits off to the side, it actually lines up with the accessory brackets, like basically perfectly. You would just need to make some type of a tensioner pulley or tensioner bracket, but basically you mount it like this, hanging way off there, and everything lines up. I did it on the engine, lines up fine. And that would give you stock pressure and everything, but most of these pumps have about the same pressure, so I'm not worried about it. So I'm going to be using the truck bracket with the truck pump. And I just made one modification to this pump, and that was I drilled these holes to access the bolts. There's two different distances, so I did an outer and an inner, and I just did two to help balance the assembly, because if you just remove on one side, you're going to be lopsided now. So you can see that lines up with the outer hole, and then these two line up with the inner holes. So we'll go ahead and toss this on the truck and hook up our lines. But this doesn't work. This kind of works. This will work. To give you a reference on pulley diameters, here's the truck one. It's about 6.5 inches or so. 2.2, 5.5. And Trailblazer SS 5.5. So these two are basically interchangeable, except looking at them, it looks like the height from here, because this dish is up and this is kind of flat, so the height difference might be there, but anyways, truck one, this is the 2.2 liter hose, and it screws right into the truck. Same fitting, same size, same everything. I just had to tweak this line a little, which you'll see better when I have it in the car. So let's toss this guy in.
Pump on this, it's of course in a different spot than 2.2 did, so the hose is kind of not exactly form-fitting, but later on we can find something in the junkyard or make something. Just a lot of GMs use all the same fittings, so should be able to find something. If I can't, I mean, this one's not done, it just kind of looks ugly. And this is the return hose from the stock 2.2, and it goes right on to this pump.
You can kind of see how this hose is sort of a bit too long and goes at a weird angle, but it's not going to hit anything for now. The next thing I read about was that to replace the steering shaft with a smaller diameter double U-jointed shaft, that a Astrovan's a direct bolt-in. Well, it's not. At least not for a second gen. First gen S10 maybe, but right now I've got these basically fully extended to where about 3/8 of that retention clip is showing, and you can see how much shorter it is. I mean, it is nowhere near. It's like 3.5 inches shorter. So it doesn't work whatsoever, but with the exhaust manifolds I'm using, the stock shaft actually fits right in. So my initial thoughts on these Trailblazer SS manifolds was that I completely wasted my time and money, and I'm still not going to go against that. But one thing they allowed me to do is the stock steering shaft fits in. So I guess we'll call that kind of a win. Still not convinced they were the best choice, but take what I can when I can. Stock shaft fits. Got about 1/4 inch clearance between the manifolds, and then up here the only thing touching is this spark plug wire when it rotates, so I can just clamp this out of the way. So there's the steering system installed. Stock steering shaft, stock 2.2 liter hose, and stock 5.3 liter pump. And the way I've got it positioned, I mean, there's like tons of clearance down here, so people that are hitting on that must either have the engine lower than mine or they're at less of an angle than mine. But I mean, that's huge distance. I'm tighter way over here on the AC compressor. I've got maybe 1/2 inch if I'm lucky. But yeah, that's it. Steering's done.